It's a small canvas, holding it portrait style, and then we can get started. So what I want to do to start off, with the biggest brush you have, this is about a 16 round. Dip that in your water, and then you're gonna you wanna make like a light blue. So I'm gonna start with white. You have all this white. I'm actually gonna just use all of this white. This I would say is about 2 of these big scoops of white paint. And then I'm gonna get a scoop of blue. And then I'm gonna mix those two together to get like a lighter blue. I'm trying to make like a greenish turquoise-ish color. So I start off with blue. And then after I have my blue, I'm going to add a little yellow to that. So now I have my light blue there. Then I'm going to get a little bit of yellow with the same brush and add that to this color. And if you find that it's too green, you can add some more blue and then add some more white. There we go. Now don't mix your paint too wide. Because when you mix too wide, you just end up with, you just end up painting your palette really. And we don't want to paint the palette, we want to paint the canvas. So I've mixed my colors and now I'm going to paint. So we're just painting the background. So when you paint the background, since this is just going to be, I don't know, it's a background, direction doesn't really matter. I want a little more lighter than this. I'm going to add some more white to it. Now if you are happy with the blue that you have there, because the background color, I mean, it doesn't have to be the exact same shade that I have. I'm adding some more white to my paint. I want it to be like a light turquoise. You have to get like the right balance of blue, yellow, and white to get this color. So I made mine a little bit lighter. And then if you see that your paint dries out, you can add a little bit of water to it, and that kind of stretches out the paint. Did you turn it off?
No.
So it's still streaming? Oh, they can't see what I'm doing down here?
I can hear you.
Oh. Well, if you can hear me, I'm still painting.
This one's fine.
That one?
Yeah.
The camera is not agreeing with me today. But then when I use it for my other stuff, it's fine. Well, yeah, that's fine. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. Cool. Should I pull this back a little? There you go. I'm just painting the canvas, covering this. Sorry about that. Sorry you couldn't see it. My cameraman was telling me that my top-down camera was not sending the feed to the switcher. So he just turned the other camera around, so now we can do it this way. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm just covering the background of the canvas. Usually when I'm painting, I go left to right. I don't know, it's a more comfortable direction for me. But truly, you could paint this whatever direction. You could do this if you wanted to, you could do this if you wanted to. As long as you are covering the whole thing, direction does not matter. Because we're gonna do it's not necessarily a scene, it's kind of like an abstract, but not fully abstract painting with flowers. And don't be too heavy-handed with your paint. Like I am dipping in there, and I'm also using water to stretch it out because the more paint you use, the longer it takes to dry up. And you'll notice that when your paint runs out, like if I wanted to paint like this and I see that not much is coming out, I can just dip in the water and it'll wet the paint on the brush and give me a little more room to paint some more there. But you don't always have to necessarily dip for more paint. Now I don't want to paint on my hand, so I picked my hand up. But I also don't want my canvas traveling all over my table. So I'm kind of holding it, but not fully holding it. So for those who don't know, I have been painting for continuously and recently the past 2 years, but like I first started painting, maybe like 20 years ago. It's been a while. I love to paint. I started painting when I was little. So, and then when I went to college, they offered a painting class, like an actual painting class, which was amazing. And I took that class and I was hooked. And I really enjoyed painting, but then when I finished college, I became a teacher for a little while. I was a math teacher, middle school math teacher, then a high school math teacher, and then I realized I still like to paint. Like I couldn't get it out of my mind that I wanted to paint. Ta-da! It's covered. And so I worked at a couple painting places, doing different things with painting. I did something for the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston. I did something with some paint and sips in Houston. And so now I'm just painting the sides of the painting. Painting the sides is optional, but it makes it look clean when you paint the sides. So I am painting the sides. If you hear a little voice yelling in the background, that's my daughter. She turned, how old did she turn? She turned 17 months a couple days ago. So she's getting there. She's teething, so she is an angry 1-year-old, much of the time, miserable, angry. But she's cute. She'll get through it. She's actually gotten her teeth a lot faster than my older daughter. I have 2 daughters. One is 8 and one is 1 and almost a half. So, yeah. And you get through it. We've all been teething before at some point. Do you remember it? Nope. And that is a blessing. So who wants to remember that? But yeah, so if you hear her, if you hear her, I guess you hear her. She'll be going to bed very soon anyway, so it won't be for too long. I'm just painting the sides again just to make this look neat, clean. See, if you're hanging this up, I'm going to hang this up in my bathroom actually, just so that, I don't know, it has a nice, it's blue, a nice calm effect. I'm trying to hold this so that I don't get paint on myself. If I painted this side, I have, whee! Alright, that needs to dry. So painting 101, when you have painted, you always want to put your brush in a cup of water. Never leave it just out like this because it'll dry up, and then the paint, when it dries, it becomes hard like that. So you want to definitely put it in a cup of water, let this sit for a while. When we get back, we're gonna do it in the portrait position. I'm putting it like this because it's still wet, and if I turn it, I'm just gonna get blue paint on my hands, and I don't want that. So we're gonna leave it like this, and then we will come back. That needs maybe, I would say 5 minutes. If you use a lot of paint, you won't need a lot more than 5 minutes to dry it, but I didn't use too much paint. So I'm gonna let that dry. While that is drying, I'm gonna start getting together the next step. So for the next step, I started off with blue, phthalo blue, some yellow, medium yellow, and some white. Well, the white was this, but I used it up. So now I'm going to mix my yellow and blue because I want to get what color? Green, of course. Sorry, I didn't mean to patronize anyone. I want to get green. So if you have green paint, perfect, just use that. But I do not have green paint because I kind of like the freedom of being able to mix the shade of green that I want. And in this case, I want a dark green. So I'm going to mix yellow and blue to get me a dark green. I took some blue and I took some yellow and mixed them together, about a scoop of each to get a dark green. I want it a little darker than this, so I'm getting more blue. And I'm just mixing those together. Can everybody see? Now I'm not mixing it too wide because then I'll just have painted the palette, which I don't want. I'm adding more blue just to darken it a little bit and get like a very dark green. But if you add too much blue, then you'll just get like a blue green, and I do not want a blue green. So now I'm gonna go back with yellow. Oh, I got some white in it. Doesn't matter. Be swallowed up by this blue. There we go. Now, I don't think this is still wet. I don't want the blue from this to interact with that because then it's not going to give me the shade that I want. Is this dry? Nope. See, just touched it. Fingers look a little blue. So I've mixed some green, some dark green here. I just mixed quite a bit of blue with a little bit of yellow. And I got this dark green. The shade of green that you get, really it's up to you. If you like dark green, use dark green. If you like light green, you can add a little white to this, and then you'll get the shade that I'm using. So since I'm waiting to use this that I just mixed on this that I just painted, I don't want to waste this paint, but I know that if I leave this brush out, it's going to get hard. And I just told y'all that don't leave your brushes out. So put that in the water cup. And what I'm doing actually, let me show you. I'm just scraping the bottom of the cup with this just to get that green paint out. Because when you pick this up, it's just going to be like very soggy green paint. And so brush is clean. You can leave that in the water cup, or you can take it out and rest it on your paper towel. It's up to you. Is this safe to turn? Not really, but I already have blue on here. I'm gonna turn this around. Now all I want to do next is set up some flowers in this space. And so I want to get some colors ready for the flowers. Really what you use is up to you. I have some bright pink. This is like a what is this? A neon pink. It gives a brighter pink than if I just mixed red and white. So I'm actually going to use some. Let's mix this. Shake it. Make sure it's closed. And then I've never used this paint, so I'm going to have to open it. Opening the paint. There we go. Opening the paint. Where can I drop that? Just put that there. The paint is open. It looks purple when I look at it in the feed, but it's actually like a neon pink. This will complement the baby blue very nicely. So I put some there. What else looks good on this baby blue background? The yellow looks good. So I'm going to squeeze out a little more yellow. What else looks good here? Maybe a lighter pink? Is this too much variety of pink? Well, I guess when you think about spring flowers, they're kind of all over the place with the color and the blah, blah, blah and everything. So, and some white. Okay, that's what I did. I'm just squeezing out the paint that I'm going to be using later. And this is, mostly dry. Let's use a clean hand and see. Yeah, mostly dry. So we can move forward. Okay. So, let me see. Put it here. There we go. I think that's good. Okay. So I have my paint. I want to make some, I don't know if I can call it grass or like some stalks, some blades of grass or like stalks to use here. And I'm using this medium-sized brush compared to the bigger brush I used before. This is about a 10 round. For those who do not know, this is a 10 round. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use the green that I had mixed earlier. That was like a ton of blue with a little bit of yellow until you get a dark green. If you put too much blue, you're going to have bluish green, which you don't want. You want it to be just green. But although it's not a huge deal if it's bluish green. Mine is kind of bluish green, but I don't want to add black to it, because then it's too dark. And now I'm dipping my brush in water because this paint sat out for a little bit, so it's kind of dry. So I'm just wetting it with a little bit of water. Twisting my brush in there to kind of distribute the paint. And then I'm going to add in some stalks of grass. Now for the stalks, I want to use a light touch to kind of add in these stalks of grass. We're going to add some flowers, so I'm starting from the bottom. So one flower will be there. We have another flower there. Now I'm just putting these stalks in for placement. I can come back in and thicken them afterwards. It's not necessarily coming from grass, so they're just kind of stalks of flowers that are kind of just sitting on the page. Okay. So once you have your stalks, I just put in a couple stalks. I want to go back and thicken them. So I'm using, probably would be better to do this with a small brush, but if you have a very light touch, you can just go in very lightly and thicken your blades of, I don't want to say blades of grass, the stalks of your flowers. Yeah, that one's okay. We'll leave that one. And as you're painting at home, feel free to play some music. I can't play music on this, but you can play music where you are at home. So enjoy yourself. Play some music, pour yourself a drink, make some tea. I just had a whole cup of tea myself. I love tea. Tea is like my warm beverage of choice. And if you look at what I'm doing, you'll see that the stalks start off, they're not like as thick as like branches of a tree or the trunk of a tree, but they are thicker at the bottom. They thin out as they go up. I'm gonna There we go. All right. So now the stalks are in there. So now what I want to do is I want to come in and start adding in my flowers. But I do not want this green, the green of the stalks, to mix in with the flowers. So start with your stalks that are a little dry, like this one here is kind of dry. So I'm going to start with this one, then I'll go to that one. By the time I finish this one, then these are the ones that should be dry too. And I just want to go in and paint some flowers. And you can pick whatever brush you want to use. If you're doing big flowers, you can use a big brush, small brush for smaller flowers. And I'm using a filbert. This filbert is pretty big. It's not humongous big, but it's sizable. So I'm going to take my filbert, it's pretty big, and I'm just going to paint some stalks of a flower. Now again, how you do this is up to you. I've seen some people do all kinds of stuff when they make their flowers. So it's really just personal preference, really. I like that. And so now I want something a little darker in the middle of this flower. So what's dark on what I got here? The blue is dark, so I'm gonna come in with a little bit of blue in the middle to kind of make the, what is it called, the stamen. I'm just gonna dot it. Oh, the stamen, I don't think this is a stamen. I'm trying to remember my science. What grade was that? I think that was 7th grade science. I think. I did not go to school in the USA, but 7th grade science, we did learn this. Did they learn that in 7th grade here? I didn't teach science, I taught math. So, there we go. And then I can always go back and put in some highlights of blue. Kind of give it some, just brushing in a little blue at the edges. Kind of give my flower some personality so it doesn't look like just a flat pink flower. The fun thing about painting is that if it looks good, go with it. I could even come in and do like, to kind of separate the petals, brush in some blue very lightly. and kind of follow the brush strokes that originally started this flower. We have that. That's one flower. And then I change colors. And I'm gonna change, I want to make a different kind of flower next. So I could even make a white flower. Now I just cleaned off my brush. I dabbed it in the water and like really jammed it in there. So now I'm gonna use white. And the flower, the way you make your flowers is totally up to you, of course. But I'm gonna make a white flower here. And it's gonna have smaller petals. I like those flowers that have like, it looks like they have like a million little petals all like competing with each other. I'm gonna try and recreate that here. So I'm just kind of going in and brushing in the flowers. I remember when I was first learning how to paint, when I reached the edge of the canvas, I would like shrink whatever I was painting and like totally ruin the perspective. And I remember my professor was like, if you reach the edge, you should just paint off the edge. And I'm like, what does that mean, paint off the edge? He's like, well, just keep going. Like the painting is cut off because there was no more space, but you shouldn't like force it to fit on the page. You ran out of space. So I will offer you the same advice. If you reach the edge and there is no room, just go off the side of the page. Well, the canvas. Because you ran out of room. Well, I could go back in there with some gray to kind of add some depth to it. I might. And for now, I'm just going to leave that as that. And I could add in a couple white dots here. So like these are like the baby little like buds growing. Why not? I'm not going to do buds of that because that one's higher up, but this one is down here. So this one, there could be little buds of this flower just kind of growing over there. Now what else? Buttercups. I used to really like picking buttercups when I was little. And I was told those are weeds. And I was like, they're so pretty though. I really liked buttercups as a kid, even though they were weeds. They're still weeds. It's not like things changed. But, oh, I got some blue in my yellow. I just wiped the paint off my brush so that I can use just the yellow. Making a buttercup. I have not seen buttercups where I live now. I don't think they grow here. I grew up in Massachusetts. They were everywhere over there, all over the place. And I used to pick them. That, and what's that one? Is that dandelions? The one that you can blow and they like blow around everywhere? I think those were dandelions. Who knows? Maybe they weren't dandelions. And I am incorrect. I'm gonna put a little bit of blue in the center of this. Just dotting in some blue in the middle. I could put black, but then it's too dark. Sometimes when you put it, black is sometimes a little too harsh for what you're doing, and then it shows. So you want to put something that'll still add to your painting, but not, guess what I want to say, overwhelm it. So yeah. See what other colors do I have. I'm gonna do like flower that has, sometimes flowers, their petals kind of sag. So this will be one of those flowers with sagging petals. And I'm just kind of pressing down with my 10 round to give that saggy appearance. And for this one, because I want to switch it up, I'm going to put white. Now you can, and I'm doing dots of white up here. Just kind of switch it up. And I didn't clean off my brush when I put in these dots of white. I just kind of went for it, which that's okay. You're the artist. Here we go. I really like this yellow, so I'm going to do another. I'm going to do a dot of yellow here to kind of break up all this white, but not too much. There we go. And what else do I want to do? I don't know. Need another flower. I think I'm going to do another one of those. Just because it's one stalk. Can't like grow two different kinds of flowers on the same stalk. Which means because this one has this stalk, they share it. I should do another one of that over here. So I will go back to this color. This is like a permanent red violet. But you can do this with yellow. You can do this with orange. However you want to do it. It's your world. It's up to you. And I'm just using my 10 round. There we go. And if you press down, you kind of get like a to get the bristles to spread out, and then that makes your picked up some white with the same brush. I'm just gonna dot it on top. When you press down with your brush, it makes the bristles spread out and you get a wider brush stroke. When you hold it very lightly, you get a narrower brush stroke. So, truly it's up to you how you want to do it. We're going to go back and add some leaves too, kind of fill in the space. I think I'm going to add this yellow. Yellow can be kind of transparent sometimes, and I want it to be rich. It's like it's turning into green. Sometimes when you lay colors on top of each other, they change. And since I had a blue in the background, it's changing how this yellow is presenting itself here. So I'm just going in with more yellow. Kind of give it some, I don't know, volume, depth, texture. There it is. Texture. I like this. I'm just painting, I'm brushing in some more yellow to give this flower some texture because it was kind of turning green, which that was not the plan, the original plan anyway. No. Oh, there we go. All right. This one shares that. So I'm going to change my brush because I don't like how this, or maybe it's because this pink is just so, maybe it's transparent. Maybe I need to do what I did there. Let's do that because it's so transparent. I'm just gonna go back in and pick up some of that hot pink, and I'm going to brush that into the top because this is very light. The fluorescent colors present very lightly when you're painting, FYI. So if you are painting with fluorescents, a lot of times you're going to have to go back in and paint another layer just so the color can pop. So when I paint that extra layer in, you can see the pink a little more clearly, but I'm not covering the darker portions that I have painted in because I still want those to show. I just want the pink to show, so I'm going in with a lot of pink. I don't know where all this fluid came from, but okay. Okay. And so that goes here with this. I wonder if I just went in with this brush and maintained that same shape. So I changed the brush size. I used the 16 filbert to do this the first time. Now I'm using the 10 round to do it, but I'm trying to maintain the same pattern. And I'm using a lot of this neon pink because it's very transparent. It's not transparent when you look at it on here. It looks pretty solid, but when you paint with it, boy, transparent. Although when you get it to do what you want, it looks amazing. I just saw someone do he did like, I wouldn't say it's a garden, but he did like a sea of flowers. Oh, I like that. That's pretty. He did like a sea of flowers, and they were, he was using fluorescence for his sea of flowers. It looked amazing. I've never seen anyone get their fluorescence to look that amazing. I'm just brushing in some navy blue, phthalo blue, plain phthalo blue. I haven't mixed it with anything. I also didn't wipe off my brush before I started doing this. I just started dotting in this color. I like that. I like that more than I like this. Can I change this up a little bit? I think I'm going to go in with a little more of this. And I'm just going over this like that. There we go. I didn't know how you could, cause when I first started started just, drawing. And when you're drawing and you make a mistake, you just erase it. And I was like, how do you fix mistakes when you're painting? And I think I already did a video on that, on how to fix your mistakes. There are ways. You should watch my other video that talks about how to fix mistakes when you're painting. But it is very doable. You can actually fix your mistakes when you're painting. All is not lost. There we go. I am not even going to touch that because I like it. I like it the way it is. I don't know if it's going to dry like that, but I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave it be. More, you know what? Let me not overdo. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes. I feel like I need to put something in the middle there. But what can I put? Green? Should I? It looks like a big cloud. We'll put a couple green dots in the middle. I don't know how I feel about this yet, but oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, we have those flowers. What else do I want to do? Do I want to do blue flowers? Could have done purple, but that's kind of like purple, so I don't want to overdo. Can we do orange? I could do orange. Do not know. Let's see. Should I do another white one? I don't want to overdo the white. I do really like these two flowers. They just pop so much. We'll do another yellow. And to keep the texture, I just picked up a lot of yellow paint and I'm brushing that in, and it adds texture to the leaves. You can also buy there's this material that you can use and add to your acrylic paint, and it thickens your paint. And that's how you get those, I don't remember what the term was for it. You get those paintings that have so much texture, it looks like someone was painting with clay. That's because they added that thickener to their paint, and then it just makes it look super thick. Or you can do it with just a lot of paint, but it'll harden nicely too, and you'll maintain that texture in your painting, which is what you want. So, things to think about. There we go. Make this flower a little bigger. Do remember, this was my favorite flower when I was a kid. Buttercups. No, the buttercup doesn't 100% look like what I've done here, but close. I really liked this flower. It was yellow, it's pretty. Good times, good memories. And if you want to add some texture, some depth, you can. I just went in and I'm brushing in a little bit of white to the flower. That could be like light. And though buttercups don't really have white on them, but white is a good way to get light in your painting. You don't always have to use white. Definitely learned that. You don't always have to use white to get light in your painting, but you can use it when you want to get light in your painting. So don't be afraid of using white. Okay. And then I don't want to make it dark in the middle. I want something brighter. I wish I had like an orange, which I could just get some red and add that. Do I have any more red paint? I do. I'm gonna make some orange on the fly. Okay. So to make orange, you mix yellow and red. And so you don't need a lot of red because the red is very strong. Even what I have on my brush right here is going to make orange because the red is, oof, it's strong. Now this had blue in it. Oof. I think I'm gonna have to squeeze out some fresh yellow and rinse my brush. When I'm painting something like this, I have a habit of just going with it and not rinsing my brush, which sometimes that works out very well. But when you're trying to mix a new color, you should clean your brush before you do your mixing. So I'm going back, I'm getting some of this red and adding the yellow. Red is very strong, so I don't need a lot of red to make orange. See how dark that is, even though I didn't even use a lot of red. Still dark. So I'm just gonna dab that in the middle here. Just add some depth. Just a little bit, not too much, because these flowers are small. And it's just dabbing, dab, 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 dab. There we go. And now we have our flowers, and we can just kind of decorate the edges. And you can use little bits of the colors that we have here. So since I have orange, I can put like little orange dots, and I'm using the same 10 round brush to put in some dots, not too many, just a couple. You can go in with white. If you want to turn some of these white blobs into stars, rinse your brush, get some white paint, then turn your brush around and then use the other end, and you can kind of, you can make a star, like pull the paint into like a star. And this is just for decorative purposes. Obviously there's not a star in the middle of a garden, but it's a painting, so it is whatever you want it to be. If you wanted to do splashes of white, you could. Kind of liking the white. Looks like, is it snow? No, it's just like an abstract floral design. If you want to go back in with the dark green, you could add leaves. Of course, don't paint your leaves over the white dots you just put in, because then you will just make a lighter green, which you don't want that. So I'm just going in and putting in some leaves onto my stems. And if you don't want leaves, you don't have to put them in there. It's totally up to you. But yeah, we're coming to the end of our painting. Just putting in a couple leaves. You don't have to put the leaves. Again, this is your choice. If you want them, put them in. If you don't want them, leave them out. Okay. And so there is our, oops, can you see it? There is our painting. And I'm just going to sign my name. You should sign your name too at the end. Put your initials. And that is our painting. I had a lot of fun painting with you all. Definitely come back and check me out next week, Friday. Be on. I'll put in I'll put something in my account so that you can get a reminder that it'll be up. I usually stream on Instagram, so this is a little bit different, but I'm very happy that you all were here with me today, and this is the painting that we did. It's kind of abstract, so it's not necessarily like a, it's not necessarily like, it's like the green screen is like interacting with my painting. Can't really see it. So it's not necessarily something you'd see in your garden, but it's a nice work of art that you can give to a friend, hang in your bathroom. You can always add more flowers to it. You can take some flowers out. It's totally up to you, but I had a really good time painting. Check me out next week. I paint every Friday around 7, 8 o'clock. I'll have a reminder in there so that you know what time to come and meet me. You can also check out my Patreon. Links are in my on my homepage and in my description. And you can do these paintings on your own at home, because I really believe in painting at home. It is so therapeutic, so relaxing, especially when you've had such a day. You just want to sit there and do something that doesn't require tons of thought. This is the way to go. So I had a good time. Definitely come check me out again, and you enjoy your weekend. See you next time. Bye.